Captain Jack wiped sweat from his brow as he studied the navigation screen on the bridge of the Star Hauler. The old cargo freighter had seen better days, but it remained reliable for hauling essential supplies between Earth colonies. Scratched metal panels and worn-out seats told stories of countless journeys through the stars. "How long until we reach Outpost 7, Tom?" Jack asked, turning to his navigator. Tom, a thin man with quick hands, tapped at his console. "About 18 hours, Captain. We're making good time." Jack nodded with satisfaction. This was a routine run: medical supplies, farming equipment, and basic necessities for the outer colonies. Nothing exciting, but important work that kept humanity's expansion going strong. Their small crew handled these trips efficiently: Navigator Tom, Engineer Mike, Security Officer Anna, and Communications Specialist Dave. They weren't military, just ordinary workers doing their job in the vastness of space. The calm of the bridge was suddenly broken by a sharp beeping from the sensor array. Dave frowned at his station. "Captain, I'm picking up multiple vessels approaching from Sector 4. Merchant ships?" Jack asked, though something in Dave's expression made his stomach tighten. "No, sir. The energy signatures are too big. These are warships." Dave's voice dropped. "And they're not human." The crew fell silent as the screen updated to show 3 massive vessels moving directly toward their position. Their sleek, predatory design was unmistakable: ships of the Claw Empire, an aggressive alien race known for expanding their territory through force. Anna moved to the weapons console. "Our defenses won't do anything against those ships, Captain." The Star Hauler carried only basic point defense systems to handle pirates and small threats, not military-grade weapons. Jack studied the approaching ships, his mind racing. "How long until they reach us?" "Less than 30 minutes, Tom replied, his fingers nervously tapping the edge of his console. The communication system crackled to life with a harsh, translated voice. "Human vessel, this is Commander Rock of the Claw Empire. Your ship is now property of the Empire. Prepare to be boarded. Any resistance will result in immediate destruction." Jack muted the channel and turned to his crew. "Options?" Mike, who rarely spoke during routine operations, stepped forward from the engineering station. "Captain, before I worked cargo runs, I was a military systems technician." This was news to Jack. "Go on." "Those are Talon-class destroyers. Powerful, but with a specific weakness in their sensor arrays." Mike's eyes gleamed with unexpected confidence. "I think I can modify our cargo to emit false signatures that will confuse them." Dave nodded eagerly. "And I can broadcast distress signals with hidden codes." A plan began forming in Jack's mind. "Anna, what's in Hold 3? "Mining equipment for the colony's expansion project." "Electromagnetic drilling components, mostly." Mike smiled for the first time in the voyage. "That's perfect. I can convert those into a makeshift EMP device. Won't disable them completely, but it might buy us time." The Claw Empire ships grew larger on the view screen, their weapons arrays clearly visible now. Jack made his decision. "Tom, plot a course toward that small asteroid field but make it look like engine failure. Mike, get to the cargo bay and start modifications. Anna, help him and prepare our limited weapons for strategic use. Dave, start broadcasting distress calls but include the coded messages." As the crew rushed to their tasks, Jack opened a secure channel to record a message to Earth Command, just in case they didn't make it. The Star Hauler might be outmatched, but humans had always survived through cleverness rather than brute force. The first phase of their desperate plan was underway as the massive alien warships closed in, their commanders surely laughing at how easy this capture would be. They never expected what was coming. The Star Hauler drifted through space, its engine sputtering and exterior lights flickering. To any observer, the cargo ship appeared to be suffering from catastrophic system failures. This was exactly what Captain Jack wanted the approaching Claw Empire warships to believe. "They're buying it," Dave whispered from the communications console, monitoring the alien transmissions. "Their commander is telling the others to prepare boarding parties. They think we're helpless." Jack nodded, his face tense but determined. "Mike, status on the cargo modifications?" Mike's voice came through the intercom, breathless from his work in the cargo bay. "Almost done, Captain. Anna and I have rewired the electromagnetic drilling equipment. We've created a strong enough pulse that should disrupt their systems when activated." "And the cargo signatures?" Jack asked. "Working perfectly," Mike replied. "The containers are now emitting radiation patterns similar to military-grade weapon systems. Their scanners will think we're carrying valuable technology." On the bridge, Tom carefully adjusted their position, making the ship's movements appear random and uncontrolled. "The asteroid field is about 20 minutes away at our current speed. I've programmed our emergency jump coordinates into the system for when we need them." Jack studied the tactical display. The 3 Claw Empire ships had arranged themselves in a capture formation, 2 vessels flanking while the largest ship approached from the front. Their dark, angular hulls bristled with weapons that could tear the Star Hauler apart with a single volley. The alien communication channel activated again. "Human vessel, your engines appear to be failing. Prepare to be boarded for your own safety. Resistance is unnecessary." Dave muted the incoming transmission and looked at Jack. "Their tone has changed. They're being careful now, thinking we have valuable cargo." "Good," Jack said. "The greedier they get, the closer they'll come." Anna returned to the bridge, her security uniform stained with grease from helping Mike. "The EMP device is ready, but we'll only get one shot with it. The mining equipment wasn't designed for this kind of use, it'll burn out immediately." Jack nodded. "We only need one shot if we time it right." The largest Claw ship moved closer, now close enough that its details were visible through the viewports. Its hull was marked with symbols representing previous conquests, and its docking bay was beginning to open. Dave's console lit up with new information. "Captain, I've decoded more of their communications. They're discussing how to divide our cargo among their ships. They believe we're carrying experimental weapons technology." "Perfect," Jack said. "Tom, are we in position?" The navigator checked his calculations one final time. "Yes, sir. We're at the optimal distance for both the EMP effect and our escape route." "Mike, return to the bridge. Everyone strap in," Jack ordered, settling into his captain's chair. "When their main ship extends its docking tube, we execute the plan." The crew watched in tense silence as the massive alien vessel loomed ever larger in their viewports. Its docking mechanism extended slowly toward the Star Hauler, metal arms reaching out to secure the human vessel. "Stand by," Jack said quietly, his hand hovering over the emergency controls. The alien ship's docking tube was now mere meters from connecting with their airlock. On the tactical display, the other 2 warships had moved into position to block any escape routes. "Their shields are lowered for docking procedures," Anna reported. "All 3 ships have their weapons charged but not actively targeting us." Jack took a deep breath. "Now." Mike slammed his hand onto the makeshift trigger he'd connected to the bridge controls. Throughout the ship, the repurposed mining equipment surged with power, releasing a massive electromagnetic pulse that expanded outward from the Star Hauler. The effect was immediate. The closest Claw ship's lights flickered and died. Its docking tube froze in place, and its engines sputtered out. The other 2 ships, though farther away, also showed signs of system disruption. "Full power to engines!" Jack shouted. "Tom, get us out of here." The Star Hauler roared to life, its failing systems suddenly operating at peak efficiency as it pulled away from the disabled alien vessels. The chase had begun. "We've got movement," Anna called out, eyes fixed on the tactical display. "The main ship is restoring power faster than expected." Captain Jack gripped the arms of his command chair as the Star Hauler accelerated away from the temporarily disabled Claw Empire warships. The EMP had worked, but he knew it wouldn't keep the technologically advanced aliens down for long. "How much time did we buy?" he asked, watching as warning indicators flashed across the main screen. Mike studied the engineering readouts with a frown. "Their backup systems are already coming online. I'd say 3 minutes, maybe 4 before they're operational. The smaller ships will take longer." "Tom, push the engines to maximum," Jack ordered. "Get us to that asteroid field." The navigator's fingers flew across his console. "Already on it, Captain. ETA to the field edge is 7 minutes. Dave kept his attention on the communications array, monitoring the alien frequencies. "They're angry, Captain. Very angry. I'm picking up orders from their commander. He's demanding pursuit at all costs." The Star Hauler shuddered as its engines strained beyond recommended limits. The old cargo ship hadn't been pushed this hard in years, but so far the systems were holding. Through the viewport, stars streaked by as they raced toward the distant cluster of asteroids. Anna's console beeped with new information. "Captain, the main Claw ship has weapons back online. The other two are still struggling, but they're moving again." "Distance?" Jack asked. 8,000 kilometers and closing," she replied. "They're faster than us, sir. They'll catch up before we reach the asteroid field." Jack nodded grimly. He had expected this. Cargo ships weren't built for speed. Time for the next phase. "Mike, what about our hidden advantage?" Mike smiled and pulled up a schematic on the main screen. Hold 2 contains terraforming explosives meant for the colony's mining operations. Low yield but highly focused. With some quick modifications, we can turn them into decoys. "Will they look like weapons fire on their scanners?" Jack asked. "Better," Mike replied. "I can set them to mimic the signature of jump drive activations. They'll think we're deploying small attack craft." Jack considered this for a moment. "Do it. Anna, go with him. Dave, prepare a broad-spectrum communication burst, maximum noise on all frequencies." As Mike and Anna rushed to cargo hold 2, the ship rocked violently. A glancing hit from the lead Claw ship's weapons. "Shields at 60%. Tom called out. "That was just a warning shot, Captain." The alien transmission came through again, the translated voice now filled with rage. "Human vessel, you will surrender immediately or be destroyed. Your deception has earned you a slow death." Jack ignored the threat. "Tom, on my mark, execute a hard roll to port. Let's show them what this old hauler can do." The navigator nodded, fingers poised over the controls. Through the viewport, they could now see energy weapons charging on the pursuing warship. The distinctive purple glow of Claw Empire disruptor cannons built up intensity. "Mark!" Jack shouted. The Star Hauler lurched sideways, rolling hard to the left just as beams of deadly energy sliced through the space they had occupied seconds before. Tom continued the evasive maneuver, sending the ship into an unpredictable spiral. "Ingenious!" Dave exclaimed, watching the sensor readings. "Their targeting systems are calibrated for military vessels. They're overshooting because they're not accounting for our irregular mass distribution." The intercom crackled. "Captain, we're ready," Mike reported from the cargo hold. 6 decoys prepared and loaded in the emergency launch tubes. "Deploy them in a wide pattern," Jack ordered. "Dave, hit them with the communication burst at the same moment." The Star Hauler shuddered as the modified terraforming charges launched into space behind them. Simultaneously, Dave activated the communication array at maximum power, flooding all frequencies with garbled data and false signals. On the tactical display, the effect was immediate. The 6 decoys registered as small craft suddenly appearing, while the communication burst created a cloud of sensor interference. "It's working," Anna announced as she returned to the bridge. "They're splitting their fire between the decoys and us. 2 of the warships are breaking formation to intercept what they think are flanking craft." The asteroid field loomed ahead, a chaotic jumble of rocks ranging from car-sized to massive planetoids. It was dangerous territory for any ship, but especially for the large claw warships. Jack leaned forward in his chair, eyes fixed on their destination. "Tom, take us in." "Full speed." The Star Hauler plunged into the asteroid field, engines howling in protest as Tom executed a series of tight maneuvers between the floating rocks. Behind them, the Claw Empire warships hesitated at the field's edge, their massive size making them vulnerable in the dense cluster. "They're holding position," Anna reported, eyes fixed on the tactical display. "The main ship is ordering the others to spread out and surround the field. They're trying to box us in." Captain Jack nodded grimly. He had expected this. "How long until they complete the encirclement?" "About 20 minutes at their current speed," Anna replied. Jack turned to Tom. "Find us a hiding spot, something with decent sensor coverage but shielded from their scans." The navigator's fingers flew across his console, mapping the asteroid field as they pushed deeper into its depths. "There's a cluster of iron-rich rocks about 3 kilometers ahead. The mineral content should help mask our signature." "Take us there," Jack ordered. As the ship changed course, he addressed the crew. "We've bought some time, but we need a way out. Ideas?" Dave raised his hand slightly. "Captain, while monitoring their communications, I noticed they're using a synchronized network. All 3 ships coordinate through the command vessel. If we could disrupt that network." Mike nodded enthusiastically. "The mining lasers in cargo hold 5. They're designed to cut through dense rock. With some modifications, we could focus them into a directed energy beam." "Would that work against their shields?" Jack asked skeptically. "Not as a weapon," Mike clarified. "But their communication array is external, mounted on the hull. A precise hit could sever their coordination, force them to operate independently." Jack considered this. "How long to modify the mining lasers?" 15 minutes, Mike estimated. "I'll need Anna's help again." "You've got 10, Jack replied. "Dave, keep monitoring their communications. I want to know the moment they change tactics." As Mike and Anna hurried to the cargo hold, the Star Hauler settled into a natural cavity within the iron-rich asteroid cluster. Tom killed the main engines, switching to minimal maneuvering thrusters to maintain position. "We're stable," he reported. "Running on minimal power to avoid detection." Jack moved to the tactical station, studying the positions of the alien warships. They were indeed forming a perimeter around the asteroid field, methodically cutting off escape routes. "They're being thorough," he murmured. "Patrol patterns, sensor sweeps. These aren't just pirates, they're trained military." Dave looked up from his console. "Captain, I'm picking up new transmissions. They're calling for reinforcements." Jack's expression darkened. "How many ships?" "At least 2 more warships," Dave replied. "ETA approximately 1 hour." Tom shook his head. "We can't wait them out. Once those reinforcements arrive, they'll have enough ships to perform a coordinated sweep of the entire field." The intercom crackled with Mike's voice. "Captain, we're ahead of schedule. The laser modification is almost complete. But there's something else you should know." "Go ahead," Jack responded. I've been studying the structural data on our cargo containers. If we jettison them in a specific pattern and detonate them remotely, we could create a chain reaction in the asteroid field. A manufactured avalanche of rock. Jack considered this. That would certainly create chaos, but how do we avoid getting caught in it ourselves? There's a narrow passage through the southern edge of the field, Tom interjected, pointing to his navigation display. Barely wide enough for us, definitely too small for their warships. If we time it right, we could trigger the avalanche just as we make our escape. The ship suddenly shuddered as a faint energy pulse washed over them. Scanning beam, Dave warned. They're doing a deep sweep of this sector. How long until they find us? Jack asked. Minutes, maybe less, Dave replied. Mike's voice came through again. The laser is ready, Captain. Jack made his decision. Here's the plan, we target their command ship's communication array with the modified laser. The moment they lose coordination, we launch the cargo containers into predetermined positions. As the enemy ships move to investigate, we detonate them, triggering the asteroid avalanche. In the confusion, we make a run for the southern passage. Anna returned to the bridge. The lasers mounted on the dorsal hull. We can control it from here. Jack nodded. Everyone to stations. This will require perfect timing. The crew took their positions, faces tense but determined as the scanning beam passed over them again, stronger this time. They're zeroing in on us, Dave warned. It's now or never, Captain. Jack took a deep breath. Tom, power up engines. Anna, target their command ship. Let's show these aliens what a simple cargo crew can do. Powering up, Tom announced as the Star Hauler's engines hummed back to life. Ready on your command, Captain. Jack's eyes narrowed as he focused on the tactical display. The Claw Empire ships were tightening their perimeter, their scanning beams sweeping methodically through the asteroid field. Anna, do you have a lock on the command ship's communication array? She nodded, fingers hovering over the firing controls. Locked, sir. The modified mining laser is charged at maximum power. Dave, are all cargo containers prepared for jettison? Yes, Captain, Dave replied. Detonation sequences programmed. Mike set them to create a cascading explosion pattern. Jack took a deep breath. On my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark. Anna fired the modified mining laser. A concentrated beam of intense green energy shot from the Star Hauler, threading its way between floating rocks before striking the command ship's external communication array with surgical precision. The delicate equipment exploded in a shower of sparks and debris. Direct hit. Anna called out triumphantly. Dave monitored the enemy communications. Their network is down. The ships are switching to independent communications protocols. Jettison the cargo containers, now. Jack ordered. With a series of mechanical clanks, the Star Hauler released its modified cargo containers. They drifted outward in a predetermined pattern, each one containing a portion of the mining explosives they had been transporting to the colony. Containers away, Dave confirmed. 30 seconds until optimal positioning. Tom's hands flew across the navigation controls. Course to the southern passage plotted. It's going to be tight, Captain. The tactical display showed the Claw warships breaking formation, momentarily confused by the loss of their coordinated network. Two of the vessels began moving toward the Star Hauler's position, while the third remained at the perimeter. They've spotted us, Anna warned. 2 ships on intercept course. 20 seconds to container positioning, Dave counted down. The Star Hauler began moving, accelerating slowly to avoid drawing immediate fire. On the view screen, they could see the massive Claw warships turning their weapons toward them. Incoming fire. Anna shouted. Evasive maneuvers, Jack commanded calmly. Tom sent the cargo ship into a rolling dive, narrowly avoiding energy blasts that superheated the space they had occupied moments before. The Star Hauler weaved between asteroids, using the natural cover to their advantage. 10 seconds to container positioning, Dave announced. One of the claw ships fired again, clipping the Star Hauler's port side. The ship shuddered violently. Shield damage on port side. Mike called from engineering. We can't take another hit like that. 5 seconds, Dave continued, unfazed. 4, 3, 2, 1, containers in position. Jack leaned forward. Detonate. Dave pressed the remote detonation control. In the void of space, silent explosions rippled through the asteroid field as each container erupted with focused energy. The blast struck nearby asteroids, sending them spinning into others. Within seconds, a chain reaction began, a manufactured avalanche of space rock. Full power to engines. Jack shouted. Tom, get us to that passage. The Star Hauler surged forward as chaos engulfed the asteroid field behind them. Massive rocks collided with increasing momentum, creating an expanding wave of destruction. The claw warships, caught off guard by the sudden cataclysm, attempted to retreat but their size worked against them. The first warship is taking hits. Anna reported, watching the tactical display. Heavy damage to their starboard engines. Through the viewport, they could see the second warship performing desperate evasive maneuvers, barely avoiding a collision with a massive tumbling asteroid. The passage is ahead, Tom called out. 500 meters, 400. Jack watched the narrow opening approach, a slim corridor between two enormous asteroids, barely wide enough for the Star Hauler to pass through. Behind them, the cascade of colliding space rock was gaining momentum. We're cutting it close, Anna warned, eyeing the tactical display. The asteroid wave will reach us before we clear the passage. Divert power from life support to engines, Jack ordered. We need every bit of speed. The ship lurched forward with renewed energy, racing toward the narrow gap. Tom's hands danced across the controls, making micro-adjustments to their trajectory. 300 meters, 200, 100. The Star Hauler entered the passage, metal hull scraping against rock as Tom navigated the tight space. Behind them, the wave of destruction overwhelmed one of the claw warships, smashing into its hull with devastating force. Almost through, Tom called out, sweat beading on his forehead as he maintained absolute focus on their path. The passage narrowed further, forcing the Star Hauler to turn sideways to squeeze through the final section. Warning lights flashed across every console as the ship's hull groaned under the strain. Come on, old girl, Jack whispered. Just a little further. With a final shudder, the Star Hauler burst free from the narrow passage, emerging into open space just as the asteroid wave sealed the opening behind them. The timing couldn't have been closer. Rocks crashed together where they had been moments before, forming an impenetrable barrier. We made it. Tom exclaimed, his hand still gripping the controls tightly. Jack allowed himself a small smile before returning to business. Status report. Mike's voice came through the intercom. Engines at 83%. Hull integrity holding at 70%. We took some damage squeezing through that passage, but nothing critical. What about the claw ships? Jack asked, turning to Anna. She studied the tactical display. One warship is severely damaged, possibly disabled completely. The second has taken moderate damage but remains operational. The third is still intact and attempting to navigate around the asteroid field to reach us. Dave looked up from his communications console. Captain, I'm still intercepting their transmissions. Their reinforcements are still en route, ETA 40 minutes. Jack nodded thoughtfully. Tom, how soon can we make a jump to hyperspace? The navigator checked his calculations. The nearest safe jump point is about 12 minutes away at our current speed. And how long until the third warship clears the asteroid field? Jack asked Anna. Approximately 17 minutes if they maintain their current course, she replied. Dave's console suddenly lit up with activity. Captain, I'm detecting new signals. 3 ships just entered the sector, they're human vessels. The viewscreen shifted to show 3 sleek military cruisers approaching rapidly, their Earth Alliance markings clearly visible. The patrol squadron from Colony Outpost 7, Jack realized. They must have received our distress signal. The lead Earth cruiser hailed them, and Dave quickly put it on screen. A stern-faced military commander appeared. Star Hauler, this is Captain Wilson of the Earth Alliance vessel Defender. We received your coded distress call. Are you in need of assistance? Jack straightened his posture. Captain Wilson, this is Captain Jack of the Star Hauler. We've encountered Claw Empire warships attempting to capture our vessel. 2 are currently disabled or damaged inside the asteroid field, but a third is still pursuing us, and reinforcements are on the way. Captain Wilson nodded sharply. We've detected them. Stand by, Star Hauler. We'll take it from here. Set course for Colony Outpost 7. We'll escort you once we've dealt with the immediate threat. As the communication ended, the Earth Alliance ships accelerated past the Star Hauler, weapon systems powering up as they moved to intercept the remaining Claw warship. Tom, plot a course to the outpost, Jack ordered. Let's leave the military work to the military. The bridge crew watched as the Earth ships engaged the emerging Claw warship in the distance, energy weapons flashing in the void of space. The outcome was no longer their concern, they had survived against impossible odds. You know, Mike said as he entered the bridge, wiping greasy hands on a rag, they're going to have a hard time believing this story at the outpost. Jack chuckled. A simple cargo hauler outmaneuvering 3 Claw Empire warships? I'm not sure I believe it myself. The mining company isn't going to be happy about their equipment, Anna pointed out. I think they'll understand when they learn we used it to save Earth Alliance lives, Jack replied. Besides, the cargo insurance covers necessary emergency use. The Star Hauler continued its journey toward Colony Outpost 7, the damaged but victorious ship limping slightly but moving steadily forward. Behind them, the Earth Alliance vessels had already forced the remaining Claw warship into retreat. 2 days later, the crew of the Star Hauler stood at attention in the main hall of Colony Outpost 7 as the station commander pinned medals to their uniforms. The official commendation cited extraordinary bravery and ingenuity in the face of overwhelming enemy forces. News of their exploit spread quickly through Earth's colonies. Soon, cargo ships across human space began installing modified mining equipment and practicing emergency protocols. The Claw Empire, having expected easy prey, found themselves facing increasingly resourceful human vessels. 6 months later, Captain Jack stood on the bridge of the newly refitted Star Hauler. The ship had been upgraded with improved shields and proper defensive systems, a reward from a grateful Earth Alliance. Where to, Captain? Tom asked from his navigation console. Jack smiled as he looked at his crew, no longer just cargo haulers but recognized heroes of the Alliance. The usual route, he replied casually. We still have supplies to deliver. As the Star Hauler departed the station, nearby ships flashed their running lights in salute. The humble cargo vessel had become a symbol of human ingenuity, proof that even the most ordinary people could achieve extraordinary things when faced with impossible odds. The Claw Empire never again underestimated human cargo ships.